Title: This is not a suicide note. 3 weeks ago, I moved into an apartment that wasn't mine. It wasn't even meant to be mine. It started with a fluke, a listing that had no pictures, dirt cheap rent, and an address I couldn't find on Google Maps. I should have known then something was off. But I was desperate. I'd been sleeping in my car for nearly a month, and this felt like my one break. The guy on the phone didn't ask for references or even an in-person meeting. Just said the place was quiet, good for people who need to get away. Said the keys were under the mat and the rent could be Venmo'd. I should have walked away. But I didn't. The building is made of that gray concrete you only ever see in abandoned Soviet projects or parking garages. My unit was at the very end of the hall on the 3rd floor. Number 303. I remember because I thought it was weird. Every other door had names or decorations. Mine didn't even have a peephole. At first, I thought I'd won the lottery. Clean walls, working appliances, even the heat worked. It was peaceful. Too peaceful, like disturbingly quiet. No footsteps from the unit above. No creaky floors. No traffic sounds, even though the freeway's supposed to be 2 blocks away. But I didn't care. I needed the peace. I'd been through hell. A job I got laid off from without warning. A breakup that still echoed in my sleep, and a family that hadn't returned my calls in months. So I unpacked. I laid out my sleeping bag on the floor. There was no furniture, and I slept like I hadn't in weeks. That first night, I woke up freezing. I checked the thermostat, 73 degrees. I put my hand on the vent, warm air flowing just fine. Still, I was shaking. The walls felt like they were breathing. I told myself it was anxiety. New place, empty place. That's when I found the note. Folded neatly and tucked between the bathroom mirror and the wall. Just 3 words written in red marker. This is real. At first, I laughed. A prank, maybe. Some bitter ex-tenant messing with the next guy. But something about the handwriting unsettled me. It wasn't rushed. It wasn't messy. It looked calm. Like the person knew exactly what they were saying. I tossed it, went back to sleep, but that wasn't the last note. Over the next 2 days, more kept appearing. Taped under the kitchen sink, don't answer. Behind the toilet, they lie. Inside the freezer, he sees you when you're still. I started checking every crevice, every drawer, every panel. I found 11 total, and then they stopped. Until I got the call. The number was unknown. The voice was soft, almost robotic. Are you still writing? I said, who is this? The voice replied, that's not what I asked. The line went dead. I stared at my phone for a while after that. I hadn't written anything in months. I used to be a freelance copywriter, but that dried up with the economy. The last thing I'd written was a tweet about insomnia. And yet, I couldn't stop thinking about what the voice said. That night, I opened my laptop and tried to write. Just nonsense. Stream of consciousness. Describing the building. Describing the strange silence. I must have blacked out at some point. When I woke up, I was still sitting on the floor, but my laptop was closed. And there was another note taped to the back of the screen. Good job. I should have left. I know that now. Instead, I felt validated. Like a dog getting a treat for sitting. The next few days blurred together. I'd write gibberish, sleep, wake up to another note. They weren't threatening. Just weird. You're getting better. Keep going. Almost there. I began losing track of time. My phone said Thursday, but the calendar said Monday. My nails were growing fast, my hair even faster. I don't remember eating, but I wasn't hungry. The only thing I wanted was to keep writing. Then the power went out. I should have panicked, but I didn't. I wrote by flashlight. And when the flashlight batteries died, I wrote in the dark. The next morning, I woke up with ink on my hands and a new note beside me. This is not a suicide note. It was like someone was answering a question I hadn't asked. until I checked my laptop. I hadn't remembered opening it, but the screen was on. A single document saved to the desktop. Suicide _ note _ final .docx. It was 4 pages long. My name was on it, my old job title, even my ex's name. All these memories typed out in a perfectly calm voice. The last line read, "I'm sorry, I've disappointed you all. For the last time, goodbye." I didn't write it. At least, I don't remember writing it. I tried deleting it. But every time I did, it just reappeared a few minutes later. New file name. Same content. Then my phone rang again. Same voice. Stop deleting. I asked, "What is this?" "What do you want?" The voice paused. Then it said, "You already said goodbye." That night, I found myself at the edge of my 3rd floor window. Not because I wanted to jump, but because something told me to check. There was a man standing across the street. He looked like me. Not just similar, identical. Clothes, hair, even the chipped tooth I'd had since I was 12. He raised a hand slowly and waved. I ran. I locked the door. I unplugged everything. I screamed into the empty room. Then I sat down and started writing again. Because if I didn't, I felt like I would vanish. I've been writing ever since. My laptop is nearly dead now. I don't know what time it is. I don't even know if this will post, but I had to try. I had to say this clearly just once. This is not a suicide note. I don't want to die. I don't want to disappear. I just want to remember who I was before this apartment, before the notes, before I became someone else. If you read this and you know who I am, please help me. If someone tells you I died by suicide, don't believe them, because I'm still here, still writing, still trying to be real, still trying not to say goodbye,